Good day, one and all. My name is Kathy, and welcome back to this episode of the Scrap and Crafty Gardener. Sorry I haven't had any videos in a few days. My brother's been having some health issues that I've been helping him deal with. So prayers for him if you're into that kind of thing. Today I'm going to make a sympathy card. I've had a lot of requests for these lately. Unfortunately, it seems more and more common in today's world. So I'm going to make a gray card, and I'm using GinaK's soft stone, and I'm going to make a horizontal card today. So this measures 10 inches by 7 inches. I scored it at the 5-inch line, fold it, and crease it with my bone folder. And then I'm using 2 pieces of white that are 4 3/4 by 6 3/4, one for the outside, one for the inside. And I have a scrap of gray that was left over from when I cut this card. I cut it down to 1 inch by 6 3/4. And then I have already cut out 3 white scroll edges. These are rectangles. They measure 1 7/8 inch by 3 inch. So this is just a nested frame set that I have. And I don't know the company that made that. But you don't have to use that. You can use just plain old rectangles or any shape that your heart desires. And I'm going to do some stenciling and stamping today. A lot of stamping and a little bit of stenciling. All right, so I'm going to start by stenciling my background. Pardon the noise here. Using my, I think it's a waffle flower grip mat. At this point, I'm not sure of anything anymore. All right, I have my grip mat, and I'm just going to put my stencil down. I'm going to use GinaK's Harvest Flourish. And this is smaller than the area I want to stencil, but I'm not going to stencil the whole thing. I'm just going to hit and miss, just to add a little bit. And I'm just going to kind of do a little bit here and a little bit there. But actually, I'm make sure I need to read this. Let me see how that looks. Yeah, just a little bit here and there. So it really doesn't matter if the stencil lines up or not, because I'm just throwing in some bits and pieces just to give a little bit of texture to the background. I think I want a little bit up here in this corner. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Done with a stencil. Yes, this is a waffle flower grip mat. All right, now I'm just going to clean off my stencil using my tidy towel. And I'm actually done with my stencil. That's all the stenciling today. I wanted to come back with a fairly simple card, though it's going to be a little detailed. Now I'm going to do some stamping. Now this card is going to go on here, and it's not going to have a border. And I want to bring it up so you can see the hit and miss of the stenciling. I didn't do it solid. All right, so I want to stamp on here, and I'm going to use for the sentiment. I'm using a set by GinaK. This is the Thoughtful Flowers stamp set, which was, I believe, last month's release. I just want to use the Thinking of You and Wishing You Peace. Pardon me, while I grab a quick drink. All right, so I'm going to get that done first. So we'll have some time to dry before I start putting everything together. Now I want to make sure the "and wishing you peace" is at the very bottom. And I'm not sure if I have used this one. I believe I have, but I'm going to condition it anyways, just by rubbing my finger across it. Now I'm going with VersaFine Clair in the color Nocturne. And I'll do that one more time. Okay, that looks good. All right, put that back on. Now I'm going to put the thinking of you. And I kind of want to get it as close down to here as I can. But I want to make sure this is straight. So I'm going to put a little piece of acetate down here. And I've got some ink on it. Just going to do a temporary test. I believe I have used that, but I'm not sure. So we'll condition it again. And conditioning just means getting off the coating that comes on it from the factory. Put that back. And I'm just going to stamp it lightly. I don't need a big bunch of ink on it because I just want to make sure this is straight. And it needs to come down a little bit. So I'm just going to clean that off. I just need to pull the T part down just to line it up a little bit. Let's see. I'm going to try that again. This saves you a lot of wasted card and time and effort if you can just get your stamping done straight in the first place. And yes, I like that much better. That's nice and straight. And with your acetate, you can just clean it off. And those are alcohol ink markers that I've colored on it before. So I could clean that off with a little rubbing alcohol, but not necessary because it's just scrap. All right, now I'm going to put this in black. And we'll do that a couple of times. And I think one more. I wanted to get it as snug up together as I possibly could without overlapping the words, and I got them just close enough together. There. And I'll bring that up to show you how I wanted it to look like the of you was kind of connected to wishing. I got that down so that the curve of the F is touching the H. So it looks like it was one stamp. Okay. Now, I'm going to put this away because I don't need this stamp anymore. But I am going to do some more stamping. I'm going to use my stamp pad, but I'm going to use an acrylic block. And I'll just set that aside to dry. On these little pieces, I want to stamp. See, and this was a scrap. And you can screen on the back. It looks fine on the front. So you don't have to throw away. Now, if you get tons and tons and tons of paper you don't want, and it's colored on one side, feel free to go ahead and get rid of it. I just like to use up my scraps. Now, I want to take the soft stone again, but I'm going to use this stamp. This is from Practical Publishing. This is the typography stamp set. And over here, it looks like there's some words. And of course, they're upside down, so I'm going to stamp it this way. I just want to put them inside this. So I'm going to do one at a time. And I'm going to take my acetate back and cover up the one edge because I believe this will stick over. Yes, it will. So I don't want it to go all the way. And I'm just going to get, use a little acrylic. I want my bigger acrylic block if I can find it real quick. And I cannot, so I'll use my smaller one. Oh, here it is. If I use a smaller one, I just tend to get ink all over my fingers more often than I normally do. And I'm just lightly, I kind of want this to be like the background that I use the stencil on. And now I'm going to grab another piece of acetate. This is a bigger piece. And I'm just going to cover up the bottom because I'm going to do that again. And the words, they're so small you really can't read them, but they're on here. All right. And I'm also going to leave this on while I stamp my floral image, because I'm going to put another image right on top of that. And I will be using this, and this is from GinaK's Wild Blossom stamp set. And I want this to be on the center of these. Kind of like right across the words. And I'm going to stamp that with a VersaFine Clair Nocturne. And I will condition that stamp. This way the stem, etc., doesn't go down below what I want. I don't want to get any on the ruffled edges. Okay. And I'll do that one more time. Oh, that is coming out the way I thought it would. Or at least I was hoping it would, and it did. One more, because I want that to be nice and crisp and dark. Awesome. I'm just going to clean off this acetate. And I'll clean off the stamp. And so that's how that one turns out. If you can see the wording in the background just gives a little bit of extra detail. And I'm going to do the same twice over. And I'll just put my acetate down. That's the black. I hope you're all staying warm. We're having not quite freezing temps, but they're getting close, and we have some nasty frosts in the morning. And this way, when you're doing with an acrylic block, and if your image doesn't come out perfect, that's okay, because you can't read the words anyhow. It's just more of a decorative element. And I'm going to put my flower back down, lift it up, cover up my ink, because I don't want to get ink on my shirt. It's long sleeve weather now. Though I think next week it's supposed to get back up in the 70s. So Mother Nature is menopausal, I believe. And one more, I think, should do it. Because these three are going to be identical as I can get them. Yes, that looks good. So that one is done. And there's the third one. And I could have put these in the corner, so I could have made sure I didn't have to reposition my stamp each time, but that's not a big deal. I can easily do that. Okay, so I'm done with this one. And I'll put that back where it goes. I love the stamp sets you get from Practical Publishing. They're amazing. All right. So many different uses I've gotten out of these stamp sets. Pardon me, I'm losing my voice. And one more. Okay, and we are done stamping. Take that off. Set these aside and clean off this stamp real quick. I'm done stamping. Okay, now for assembly. And I'm just going to use a wet one. And I had one out here, but I'll just grab a new one. Just in case I have ink on my fingers, which I usually do. All right, now I'll dry that real quick. All right, the assembly. You know, I think I do want to stamp one more time, and I'm just going to use my acrylic block instead of get out my stamping platform. I want to put this on the inside. Let's see, there's that piece. Where's the inside piece? There's the inside piece. I'm just going to put the same flower, pardon me. And I'm going to make sure it's nice and dark on here because I'm only going to stamp it once since I am not using my stamping platform. I'm going to hold it down for just a minute. Hey, it came out. All right. That's something to be excited about. It's little things, you know. And, well, you know what? While I've got it, let me just grab the envelope. Do the same thing with the envelope. Because I always like to have a little something on each envelope that coordinates with the card. Make sure the envelope flap is up. Put that down in this corner. And I'm just going to hold it down for a moment. All right. Twice in a row. I don't think I could do it again. Okay, double check the fingers. All right, now let me get this assembled. We'll start by putting the inside on the inside. I always like to put one on the inside if I'm using a darker colored cardstock for the outside card, for the base. All right, now this would also look nice trimmed down with a little bit of a black border. But I want to use this, the full size today. Get that straight. Now, I'm going to take that narrow strip that I have sitting here right on my desk. Oh, it went underneath the stamps. And that's going to kind of go across here, but I'm going to move it up a little bit. But I have these silver. I'm not sure how this is going to look. I want to try a silver strip. And most of these have jagged edges, but there is one that is smooth. And I'm going to try and get that as centered as I can. So I'm going to line it up here, and then I'm using my dotted line on my Tim Holtz craft mat. And I'm going to put that down right on the dotted line. Keep that centered. And all right, just add a little bit of something. And I'm just going to wrap that around the back. These are from StampOnIt.net. I usually get these at card making and rubber stamping shows. That's where I buy those from. But they do have a website. Now, these are going to get put on here. And I don't know if I'm going to do it like this and have them go up the card, or if I'm going to move this strip up and have these all up here, which, yes, I think, and then I'll put some embellishments down here. All right, so let me put this down. And play around with the layout. See what you like, what you don't like. Try it. You'll never know until you give it a go. Now these I want to pop up, but not very high. So I'm going to use some 1/2-inch foam tape, and I'm just going to put 2 pieces on the back of each. So I need my small scissors. And that's the pretty green one on the back. I always try to keep some scrap paper on the side that I can wipe my brushes off on, or try some coloring techniques. And then you can flip the paper over and use it unless the ink is soaked through, which in this case it didn't. So I'm going to put the one in the center first. That way I can gauge the other ones based on my center strip. And we'll line that up with my mat. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we want to go 1, 2, 3 and 1/2 will be the center. Line that up. And 3 1/2 wasn't quite 3 1/2. That's better. Now these, I'm just trying to get them even across the top and bottom and giving them about the same amount of room between and on the ends. And that's one I need to go a little bit higher with. There we go. All right, now for embellishments, I have brought 2 things over. Simple old-fashioned sequins. If I put those across the bottom here, that's one. And then I have my traditional rhinestones. You know, I'm thinking I'm going to go old school today with the sequins. So I'm going to try and get 5 dots evenly aligned across here. So I'm going to get out my T-square. This is not a fancy T-square. This came from Harbor Freight. I'm not going to use the inches to line them up. I'm just giving myself a somewhat of a straight line. And I think I want to put them here. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right. I used to use sequins exclusively, and then I found those fancy rhinestones that I could color. But I still have a lot of sequins, and I do like to use them. They have their place. All right. And there we have just a very simple, but kind of cool at the same time, sympathy card that is not over the top bling. And that's my card for today. Thank you so much for watching. And again, I do apologize for not having videos. But when you're a retired nurse and the family needs some help, you go. All right. Thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll be back tomorrow. Maybe today. I can't get this recording to end.